And we are live. Welcome to NBA Live Before Lock. It is Friday, October 9th. Game 5 edition, potentially the final game of the NBA Finals. And I could think of no better way to send this finals off than with the man that just consistently brinks showdown slates. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well. Excited to be on here to talk about Game 5 with you. Potentially the last NBA slate of the 2021 season, the longest regular season of probably ever.
Yeah.
So hope if it's the last day, hopefully we get some winners who are watching. But excited to talk about the must-win situation for the Heat.
I'm excited to talk about it too. I want one more slate. I don't think that we're going to have another NBA slate in 2020, unfortunately. Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll come back at Christmas, but I don't know. So I think this might be the end of our basketball. I hope we go out with at least a good game. I don't know if we will, but I hope that we do.
I hope so too. I mean, it's potential. I personally thought I like when superstars just go head to head against each other. Jimmy Butler has definitely earned his superstar status. Don't get me wrong, but I was rooting for a Giannis LeBron head to head matchup for sure. Just because I like when stars go head to head against each other. That's why I loved when KD and LeBron would just be at it back and forth, even though there'd be short series.
Sure.
It'd be fun just to watch that go back and forth. I don't get that same feeling with Butler.
Right.
Nothing against Butler. Butler's great, but it's just not the same superstardom level as a KD versus LeBron.
450 people in here, already up to 81 likes. You guys know that I'm coming for that thumbs up, so I appreciate you hitting it already. Keep hitting it. Let's take it north of 100. We'll give a shout out to No House Advantage, the presenting sponsor of this show. No House Advantage does have a contest going on right now. $3,000 guaranteed, $1,500 up top. Only 49% filled as of now. Perfect opportunity for you guys to jump in there. $12 to get in it. You can make a deposit using the promo code Awesemo. Get up to a $20 free play on that first deposit. Refer a friend, get another $5 when they make a deposit. You'll be entering this thing twice based on that. So go ahead, do that. We're going to look at some props as we go. I think let's start on the Miami side. Let's start with one Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler currently 16% owned in the captain spot, 53% owned in the utility spot. How do you feel about Jimmy Butler? Do you prefer Bam? Do you prefer neither somehow? Talk to me about Jimmy Butler and the rest of the Heat.
It's going to be very hard for me to say neither, so I'm going to eliminate that. But I do prefer Butler to Bam in a raw point situation. And that's kind of what you need to always focus on these showdown lineups. I mean, there's a salary factor, but you can narrow your raw points tree down. Makes the most sense. Bam, it should be close to 100% now based off what I read and everything. He looked close last game. There was something he looked a little all right, I'm in an NBA Finals taking a few, he's out for almost not a week, probably 5 days. So I prefer Butler to Bam. I do think the public has obviously been playing Jimmy Butler. His ownership has gone up each slate. And I do expect it to go up again just because he has been the highest scoring player of the last 2 games, and rightfully so. He's earned it. And Jimmy Butler's going to play 45 minutes, barring any ridiculous foul trouble, injury. And the blowout needs to be 40 points for him to come out. It's not going to be he's going to get his 40 minutes. It's going to be I'll be shocked if he doesn't get it. Something must have drastically have happened for him not to play 40 plus minutes, in my opinion. Yeah. So I like Butler quite a bit, and I expect him to produce well.
I have quite a bit of him right now in my captain spot. I don't have a ton of him actually in the utility spot. I'm going all or nothing Jimmy Butler tonight. I think we might see him open it up a little bit from 3. They've been going under on him so much, and I think that he is just going to have to take that shot for them to have any real chance of staying in it now. I'm hoping they go in. So I am loading up on Butler. I don't have all that much Bam. Public 7% projected ownership, 38% in the utility spot. I've got 19 in the utility spot, and that's it. Not a single share of him in the captain. Do you feel like he can pay off that captain salary, 9,800? So 1.5 times whatever that is. Off the top of my head, I don't know it.
Yeah, he's this matchup is just sucks for Bam. Bam's a phenomenal player. It's just not meant for him to succeed in this type of matchup. But look, if he's going to play 40 minutes, yeah, I'm sure there's a chance that he can put up 50 fantasy points. There's a chance he can do that. And at 9,800, if he puts up 50 fantasy points, you're going to need him. So if the I don't know if you've had the latest ownership update, but if so ownership is in the single digits in captain, I'd like to potentially get over that.
Okay.
But just because like he's a player that could play 40 plus minutes, and as we can see, like those minutes could lead to an upside. So I'm willing to take a chance. I don't expect that to happen like a lot. For him to get 50 fantasy points in this type of matchup, maybe it happens 2 out of 10 times. That's being on the higher side of things. So you got to like weigh into these probabilities of when you take these chances on showdown, and you are hoping for that upside. That's when I'd be okay. I'll be willing to take shots with Bam at captain for sure at that point.
Now there's a third guy from the Heat that you can also pay up for. It is not Goran Dragic. He is out for tonight. Tyler Hero is 9K. That's a pretty monstrous salary. Is that a guy that you're able to get to at 9,000?
Not much of.
Okay.
It's I probably be with around the field, maybe slightly under. Hero, I think, had the best game of the series last game. He put up 36 DraftKings points. Took the nice thing about Hero, he has the shot volume. He's taking high teen shots. He took 18 the last 2 games out, and he's taken 7 threes apiece the last 2 games as well. So instead of him going 3 of 7, goes 4 of 7, hits a couple more field goals, boom, he's at 40 fantasy points. And that's when he gets a lot more interesting because he's going to play also like Jimmy Butler minutes. He's going to play those high 30s, low 40s minutes. But the thing with Hero is if they put Hero on an island, LeBron's going to attack him. And the same goes for his counterpart, Duncan Robinson, who's been in the optimal the last 2 games and has come out to attack me after all the slander. And I don't expect him to outscore Anthony Davis like he did in Game 3.
No.
What a bizarre outcome! Shout out to the guy who played him for that exact narrative. He took down the showdown solo.
Yeah, you deserve it at that point.
Yeah, if you're scripting that narrative out, I commend you. I tip my hat. You take your, oh, I believe it was a quarter mil. So congrats to who that was. But Duncan Robinson's he's cracked the 20 fantasy points threshold twice. He cracked high. He's 27 last game, 31 the previous time out. Now he played 33 minutes, had 5 fouls. I'm going to be hesitant. Now I'm saying hesitantly under the field on Duncan Robinson just because his price tag is 7K. And the Lakers have a guy in Rondo who's 6,200 who I think can outscore him a lot more times than not.
Yeah, I'm with you. I only have 2% Duncan Robinson right now. I don't expect him to do it again. If he does, kudos. And I do prefer Rondo as well. We just sort of walk through that middle tier. Any interest in Jay Crowder? He's one that we did skip over. $400 more expensive than Duncan Robinson. I prefer him pretty dramatically to Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, I think Jay Crowder's minutes have been high, mid 30s. He's now 7,400. I do prefer him to Duncan Robinson. And Jay Crowder he has the type of game where he can get 40 fantasy points in terms of just getting peripherals. He could somehow manage a double in rebounds. He has that in his bag. Obviously, he's not going to get much usage just the way his role in the team. But if he were to knock down 50% of his threes, maybe he gets you the mid 30s. And once he gets to the mid 30s range, I think you're gonna need him in the optimal. So that's where my Jay Crowder opinion falls from. I like taking shots with Jay Crowder today just because of the ownership, and I do think it can pay off pretty massively in terms of his upside.
Working our way down a little bit further for these Heat guys, we take a pretty steep jump down to Kendrick Nunn at 4K, Kelly Olynyk at 3K, Iggy 2400, Solomon Hill at 1400. Anybody else you'd like to add, feel free. None picking up a solid amount of ownership. Iggy picking up a solid amount of ownership. How do you feel about None? How do you feel about Iguodala? Anybody else for you that could be popping up here? Any Derek Jones Jr., something weird?
Uh,
Kelly O?
I'm gonna prefer. Yeah, the Kelly O thing. His price is fell from last game on DraftKings, but he is to me unplayable on FanDuel
Yeah,
because
fully.
he's 11.5. Yeah, so
He's
keep that. There's a
$500
huge
more
price.
expensive than Tyler Hero. How does that happen?
Yeah, that's like the delay in the FanDuel algorithm. I have no idea what happened there.
You would think
I
they'd
mean,
have
Kelly
like an
Olynyk.
override for the finals.
Yeah, I have no idea what he played. 12 minutes last game. He did pick up quick fouls, I believe, in that first half, if I'm not mistaken. But if he's gonna play like 12 minutes, I'm gonna have him projected around like the 10, 11 fantasy points. I don't expect him to get more than the mid-teens in minutes unless Bam gets in super foul trouble or Bam gets hurt. That's the only way I expect him to play more than the 14, 15 minute range. His price tag is interesting in the sense he's cheaper than Howard, and then Kelly O just could knock down 4 threes in 12 minutes, and boom, all of a sudden you're going to need him.
Yeah.
That's just the annoying part of Kelly Olynyk. He's highly inconsistent, but he's the type of player that you try to embrace the variance with and try to hopefully get him when he's high. So I'm I don't have the strongest take. I'm willing to just probably be around the field with Kelly Olynyk just because he has that upside.
I don't want to say that I'm heavy on him because it's not at all heavy on him, but I am over the field on Olynyk. I don't have very much Dwight, so I'm taking the bet on the 12 minutes of Kelly Olynyk being better than the 12 minutes of Dwight Howard. I hope for tonight. Kendrick Nunn and Andre Iguodala are both 38% owned. I have more than that of both of those gentlemen. How do you feel about Nunn and Iggy?
So Kendrick Nunn's been getting the minutes, but he's been terrible the last 2 games in terms of can't buy a bucket. It seems like he used them all up in the garbage time in the first game, and then played well the second game. So I do think the second game outcome. I do think we get a little closer to that second game outcome from Kendrick Nunn. Uh, that's where I'm falling in with Kendrick Nunn. I'm just not sure if he gets like the extended must-win run. That's my only reason with Kendrick Nunn. So I'm a little hesitant, but Iguodala is 2,400. But man, Iguodala looks washed in this finals. Uh, he's just not been. He's been obviously LeBron's a tough ask. He's obviously not the Golden State Iguodala 5 years ago, where he limited him with quotations around limited. But I just don't think he's consistent from hitting that three. And I think Spo has been like, all right, we need to get more offense in this situation. I'm a little hesitant on Iguodala, but that price makes everything work so nicely.
Yeah, he is in basically everything I have tonight, all things considered. That price tag is too much for me to pass up on, and I think because of how big of a game this is, I wouldn't shock me to see Spo lean on him a little bit more than, let's say, Duncan Robinson, if Duncan Robinson picks up a foul or two. So I'm kind of just betting on the upside of Iguodala's minutes. If he falls into those stats, great. I just think 2,400 way too cheap for him. He showed up a lot more often in the optimal in my sim. So Iguodala, one of the guys that I have the most today.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's I like that. I like Iguodala because he can get you in the studs, and more times than not, you're going to need studs in your showdown lineup. Um, excuse me. Unlike what is it, Game 3, where you just needed LeBron and AD, and
Yeah.
no, sorry, LeBron and Butler, and you didn't need AD. So it's really tough to be comfortable jamming in the top three without Iguodala. Uh, so
Very much.
that's that's where things get a lot interesting, and that's why I do think he's going to garner quite a bit of ownership, just because for that sole reason. And he's a name, and the public should won't hesitate to click his name for his price.
Is there anything else you want to touch on from the Heat?
Yeah, I think ceremonial Udonis Haslam run, if they are down 35 plus points with 4 minutes left, that could happen. But he seems like the type of guy who might not want to come on the court. I have no idea. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it because he's had quite the farewell tour. But if you're drawing different games narratives, you can take shots on Derek Jones, Quinn Cook, J.R. Smith um, as final options in your lineup. I don't really like them as captain options just because I think you're going to need the raw points and the multiplier from the studs, even if there's a blowout.
Starters are in for both teams, and they are the standard starter. So Dwight Howard is remaining in the starting lineup for the Lakers.
Mhm.
Guys, we got 1,000 people in here, 1,007 to be exact, 189 likes. I haven't even been asking all that much. You guys are just doing it now. I appreciate it. It's ingrained in your brains. We got to get north of 200 now, at the very least. So please hit that thumbs up. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the podcast feed. Subscribe to everything we have. Subscribe to the website, awesemo.com/join. Go to No House Advantage. Get into some contests there. Sign up through us. We could take a look at one of the props, maybe a Jimmy Butler prop. Over under 24.5 points. How do you feel about an
In a
over
must
under?
win, in a must win for Jimmy Butler. Hmm, man, that's a very good line in my opinion. I do think Jimmy Butler is just going to try to carry his team again, and I'll take the over. But it's a good line in my opinion.
I have him projected for 25.2, so I would take the over as well. One other prop from the site, 10.5 rebounds for Bam Adebayo. How do you feel about that one? That's a big number.
So I hate to bring this up, but I think Don't Embiid My Status in our Slack had a 10 player prop parlay,
He
and
did.
he missed on Bam Adebayo over 9.5 rebounds, I believe. And I saw that, and I think it cost him many thousands of
I
dollars because he
believe it
had
was
got
just north
everything.
of 50,000
Yeah,
on a
that was
very,
sick to my
very
stomach.
minimal bet, relatively speaking, to that payout.
So that's sick to my stomach. If he's gonna play 40 plus minutes, I'm gonna have to take the over in a must win situation.
Now it's getting to chat now. It was a $27 bet.
Oh.
And yeah, the payout was just north of 50, I believe. I would actually take the under on Bam's rebounds. I have him projected for 9.9, although it's probably not one of the props that I would take. That's still pretty close to 10.5. So I don't think it would be one that makes it through the cut for me. Sorry, don't be my status. That was all Rinpack bringing that bad juju onto you. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's so. I feel for that. That is so tough. But I do want to bring up something.
Yeah,
We're having what potentially our last Awesemo NBA year long pass giveaway on the Awesemo underscore com pin tweet. This will give you access into October 10th of 2021. So, like I've said before, this is better than a free roll. You'll be locked in up until October 21st. Oh, sorry, October 10th of next year. So take advantage of it. This might be the last one. All you have to do is guess the number of total points that'll be scored in the game today. So take your shot at that. Make sure to follow both accounts, and good luck with that. You guys have been great with these giveaways. We appreciate the support, and this helps us grow the site in different ways that you don't know about behind the scenes. Like, for example, establishing a new express package for you guys to take advantage of for our NFL offering. So, all your support's much needed and very much appreciated across the board.
follow the information on the screen, guys. Can't beat a giveaway. 51,000. Yikes. All right, back into showdown slate. We'll slide on over to the Lakers. Same question I've asked you for I don't know how many times we've done this show now. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, the two men at the top. Who do you prefer?
So, Anthony Davis just missed on a double double last time. LeBron James has been sniffing a triple double every game of the series. So, I do have finally came to a conclusion the way they've started to guard Anthony Davis, uh, and they're making LeBron not focus much on Jimmy Butler early or in the game on defense. I finally have made a decision. I prefer LeBron James slightly above Anthony Davis, but it's very close. But I've come around to after watching the last game and what the adjustments Frank Vogel did. I prefer LeBron James slightly to Anthony Davis. Jimmy Miller came very close to Anthony Davis just because I had projected him for like 43 minutes. He's really close to Anthony Davis, but I can't. I don't have it in me to project him more than Davis right now.
I have quite a bit of LeBron at captain. I have significantly less Anthony Davis. I do have more AD at the utility spot, but that's just sort of because I have a lot of LeBron at captain. In the aggregate, I have more LeBron than AD. I think it's just a little bit easier to get there, and I think he projects a little bit better relative to salary than Anthony Davis does. I don't really have much to add, though. I mean, they're clearly two of the three best plays of the day.
Yeah, that's. I'd be shocked if no, you're going to need one of those guys in the optimal. I'd be shocked if none of them are in the optimal.
Yeah, it's
That
almost impossible.
yeah. So like you're going to need one. I pretty much all my lineups have at least one version of them in flex captain, like all the different combinations of. And they're my two favorite MVP options on FanDuel as well. So FanDuel is their pricing has become a lot interesting. You could make viable lineups with MVP, Davis, LeBron, and Butler in the top three. Now it's really tough
Yeah.
to to a point where it's like too uncomfortable for me. But you could. There's some good options in the pro where you can take shots with Hero and Crowder and whatnot, and get up some viable, more consistent options in the utility over there on FanDuel. How close is Butler to Davis and LeBron for you? Is it like decent amount of difference, like 5-6 points?
I have LeBron 4.6 points ahead of AD. I have AD 3.3 points ahead of Butler.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm
almost 8
just around there.
for LeBron to Butler.
Yeah, I have 3 more for LeBron, and then I have 3.5 more from Davis to Butler.
There we go.
But clearly that has not happened the last 2 games. But I do think I do think them missing out on the triple doubles and double doubles, if they get that, it's a different ball game. Ownership's a lot different, but I do expect them to perform slightly a little better if this game's close. They're going to need both of them. But
So
we've seen Butler outscore both of them, so that's obviously in play for sure.
So on DraftKings, after you get through AD, you take a really big jump down until you get to your next Laker. You got Butler, Bam, Hero, Crowder, Duncan Robinson, all in between these guys. And you get to Rondo at 6,200 and KCP at 5,600, at 4,800, and Danny Green at 4,400. Of those 4 guys, Rondo, KCP, Kuzma, and Danny Green, do you like anyone a lot? Do you like anyone at all? What's your favorite stuff in that range?
I'm liking a lot in the sense I will take my chances with Rondo. 28 minutes consistently last 2 games, 26 and before that. He even got 25 in the game they blew him out. It wouldn't shock me if he found to break the 30-minute point. Let's just say they start off rough. I think Rondo Vogel has all the trust in Rondo to kind of like control the last crunch time offense. And look, Rondo got to 20 fantasy points. He took 7 attempts from the field goal. He only hit 1, and it was the biggest layup of the game. I like Rondo at that price tag. He's 6,200. We've seen the upside of 38 fantasy points. I can see that happening again, but because he had a double-double that game, that can happen. He can get you the 10-10 double-double. So I like Rondo quite a bit at 6,200. I'm hesitant about Danny Green. That guy does not look good right now. His hip is bothering him. But Danny Green's one of those guys. He could rack up a couple steals, a couple blocks, and hit a few threes, and can get there just because of his peripherals of like those steals and blocks, especially on FanDuel. But KCP won all of Lakers' land last time out. He hit some big shots from the first quarter to the fourth quarter on. But his price tag has gone up quite a bit, where I'm not getting as much as he was in previous games. He's all the way up to 5,600, but I'm more than willing to find those extra $600 and get up to Rondo today.
Yeah,
that's where I stand. How about you?
Rondo is the guy that I have the most in this range, but I'm pretty neutral to the field with Rondo, neutral with Danny Green, neutral with KCP. It's Kuzma is the guy that I don't really have in this range, and I'm fine with it. If today's the day that Kyle Kuzma breaks out, kudos to him. He's just not a guy that I have for today.
Yeah, he's like I said. I think we already kind of had the Kyle Kuzma game. I think that was the game 3 game they lost. He
Yeah.
got like the mid 20 fantasy points. That's very good for Kuzma in these playoffs in his role. Uh, he's was like I'm very similar to Josh. I mean, yeah, if you're building 10 lines, I might probably get 2 or 3, and that's about it.
Yeah, I've 4% Kuzma right now.
Okay.
Then we take another step down. We go to Markieff Morris, 3,600. Alex Caruso, 3,400. Dwight Howard, 3,200. In that trio, in the 3K trio, who's the guy that stands out most to you? Is it Morris, Caruso, or Howard?
I will take Caruso because of his minutes and just because he hasn't had a game over 20 fantasy points in a while, and it was 20 in, I say, game 1. And I just think people are going to be hesitant to click him. His price tag is kind of in a weird range in 3,400. People might go to Kelly O, maybe potentially more, even though maybe our ownership doesn't indicate that. But I just think Caruso has it in him to get high 20 fantasy points, and that price tag, you're going to need him, I believe. So I like Caruso. And then other than that, I probably did you say Markeith in that in the
Yep.
list of names?
Yeah, Keefe is
Yeah.
3,600, Caruso 34, Dwight Howard 32.
So yeah, I'll probably go Caruso and Keith are my 2 favorite, probably.
Yeah. I do not have much Dwight Howard. I have a relatively minimal amount of Markieff Morris. Alex Caruso is my guy. I've got a monstrous amount of him. Relative to ownership, he's probably the guy that grades out the best for me on the slate. 3,400 seems like a really nice price tag. If he can get north of, like, I've got him projected for 17 fantasy points. If he can get that north of 20, I think that he's going to become very essential. So Alex Caruso is sort of the key to Alex Caruso and Andre Iguodala are sort of the key to everything for me. Those are the 2 guys that I'm making a bet on. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's they make everything a lot more easier and I wonder how much like of the public will do that. I don't hopefully not too many, but we'll see. Right now, as I'm going through my crunches, I'm not getting as much Tyler Hero as I'd like, so that's a little concerning in the sense just because he's going to play so many minutes, and when like it's really hard for me to fade someone who's playing so many minutes.
Yeah, I have 18% hero as of right now. I don't anticipate making any changes unless we get an ownership update, which I'm not expecting. I'm feeling pretty good about the slate. I'm excited to watch the game. I assume we're on the same page and we think that the Lakers end this series.
Yes, and it's been a fun NBA bubble for sure.
Yeah.
I props to the NBA for pulling it off. Really impressive on their half, as we can see the other leagues have struggled quite a bit in terms of uh, maintaining the pandemic and the number of COVID positive tests. But kudos to the NBA. I'm sure they're thrilled that China's watching tonight. And and outside of that, I'm gonna miss it. It's gonna be gone for a while, just because like usually when the NBA season ends, you know when it's gonna come back. This time we don't know, which is sad. That's the only sad part of the NBA ending. We don't know when we'll get it back.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see what the off season's like because that's also like sort of my sneaky favorite part of the NBA is following the transactions and the cap gymnastics. I get really into the minutia of the league. Curious to see how that all shakes out when we have undetermined amounts of time instead of like a very set schedule. So we'll see where that goes. We've got
Yeah.
15 minutes to go until lock. So make sure you guys are getting your lineups in. Still have north of 1,000 people in here, and we crossed the 300 like barrier without me having to ask, which means time for me to ask for you guys to hit the like button. And let's see if we can get it over 400 because you guys keep giving me a different hurdle to jump over. So hit that thumbs up. Let's get to
Yeah, give us
400.
if this is our last show, give us some farewell love.
I like it.
The Awesemo NBA content has been great. You guys have been great for us, and we love each and one of you who's watching on most of the days. So I'm
And
sure
we have been
there are
great.
days where,
I'll say it. I don't care.
and
I'm
yeah.
shameless.
But are you taking any shots on like any random 1 in 150 shots?
No Myers Leonard or any of those other people that could potentially play. No Derek Jones Jr., those type of guys. Nobody from the Lakers side either. Are
Okay.
you? Do you got anybody weird?
Uh, you talked me into some Udonis Haslem,
I
in the sense of like a one lineup right now,
get it.
but he might not make the cut. But a couple lineups with Derek Jones Jr. and Quinn Cook, but that's just like about it where I'm falling.
Okay. Guys, we have
Uh,
14 minutes. Start getting your questions in now. I think we've got plenty of time to answer some questions and take us all the way up until lock. And our NBA projections are free today, by the way. So if you're trying to play, you have 13 minutes to go check them out. Go click on it.
yeah, they're in the pinned tweet, so I made your guys' job easier, so you guys can just go there and take a look. So
All right, we got this question coming in from Premium Slack. Caruso or Kuzma on FanDuel? Kuzma
I would take.
7,500, Caruso 7,500.
They're very equal for me, but I very similar in the sense. But I do have Caruso projected higher, and I
Yeah,
do think Caruso has a higher ceiling. Maybe that's like a. It's a, depending on the game script, Caruso can definitely get there. So
I agree. Caruso would be my play as well, showing up in the Sims just a little bit more. See what else we've got. Nothing in Premium Slack right now, so we're gonna head over to YouTube. If you had to pick one guy under 10K left on FanDuel, who are you picking?
under 10K. Let me just quickly pull up the salaries.
I think it's Jay
Uh,
Crowder.
yeah, if Jay Crowder's under 10K, yeah, I'd prefer him.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
prefer him to Duncan Robinson. So yeah, Jay Crowder.
Goes Jay Crowder, Rondo, Duncan Robinson.
Yeah.
How do you feel about KCP in the pro spot tonight? If not, who would you consider is the best position to have a good game in that spot? So, KCP in the pro. I only had KCP show up in the pro spot 1.6% of the time. I would be looking more at Tyler Hero, Bam, um, Jay Crowder looks to be owned about where I would expect him to be. Rondo the same. So yeah, Bam and Hero would be the two guys that I'm looking at most. Probably Hero, relative to ownership. Do you like anybody specific in the pro spot on FanDuel? I know that's a very specific question to look at.
Yeah, I'd say I got the most of Tyler Hero and Jimmy. Not sorry, Tyler Hero and Jay Crowder.
Yeah,
Of way like my roster construction I chose to build out, and the salary it's a little much tighter today on FanDuel, so that makes things a lot more interesting. So keep that in mind. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be Tyler Hero, Jay Crowder for me.
okay. Okay. Dave posted his lineup on FanDuel. So here's what we're gonna. Oh, I don't have a fan. I could have. I would have pulled it in. Butler, Davis, Hero, Rondo, Crowder. I'm giving away Dave's lineup, so everybody dupe that bad boy.
Oh, oh, how tilted he would be if it was just like him and like 10 other people.
Guys,
Oh,
find out what contest he's in and jam that bad boy in.
oh man.
All right, now that one's finally getting to premium Slack, so that's pretty fun. Let's see. Any thoughts about Iguodala at captain?
Yeah, just because once you have like we've talked about Iguodala has that upside. He has a veteran trust in Spo, which is pretty important in a must-win situation. So yeah, I have no issues with that. If you're even if you're building one lineup, I think that's a fine risk to take. So I would definitely take that chance. How about you?
I think he's overowned. If based on our ownership projections, if he really is at 5.6%, I think that's too high already.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah, no, that's good for 5%. Yeah, that's around. Yeah, that's a pretty good solid ownership just to be at the field at, and I think it's getting my final adjustments in.
Because of the way the prices broke, I have a very high concentration of LeBron, AD, and Jimmy Butler. I don't see a ton of value in those the non big three captains. Like Tyler Hero a little bit. Jay Crowder, probably the guy that I would get to the most. He's picking up essentially no ownership in the captain spot. Everybody else is in like the 1, 2, 3, 4 range, and I don't have anybody getting back to that number. So I'm really against the non big three guys tonight.
Okay. Yeah, it's just I think the pricing has adjusted in that way. Right now, my two top captains are LeBron, Anthony Davis, followed by Butler. And do you want to guess who my fourth highest owned captain is right now?
Since you're asking me to guess, I assume that it's not like anything common. So I'm gonna say Rondo.
No, it's actually Caruso.
Oh,
So
okay. I love it.
I think it might be a little bit more common, but we'll see how that ends up. So.
Okay. I mean, I hope that he's like really close to being the captain, but not the captain, because I have basically all of the Caruso in the utility spot. So
Okay, yeah, and I think that when there's like these like when the Lakers are playing, that kind of ends up happening a lot more uh, than they like. You think like that flex player is going to be the captain, but it's just that LeBron or Anthony Davis have gotten theirs like on their raw points on their own more times than not. And that's how. But the way the salary is today, I can see a lot of the usual common utility options making a way to captain. So we're
uh,
7 minutes to lock. So
we just got a
just
super
a
chat
reminder.
actually.
Wow, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Shout out to producer of the program, Jordan Klein, for the super chat.
Wow,
Wants me to go enjoy a glass of Crevassier. I could pull that off. I still have some at the house today, so
very nice. Thank you.
I'll drink some
Thank you,
Crevassier.
producer
I think
Jordan.
Jordan was mentioning earlier in chat that he has had a White Claw or two tonight, so it's going to be a good night for Jordan, evidently.
It's a good night for Jordan every night, from what I hear.
Probably. Seems like it. Seems like he has some fun. I don't blame him. I used to have fun.
Just a little bit.
I don't know what that's like any longer. All right, let's get back to questions. Everybody's freaking out over me airing out Dave's lineup. Dave wants to know if I'm wearing a shirt. Caruso or Morris? I think we both say it's Caruso.
Yeah, it's close, but it's Caruso for me.
It's Caruso for me as well. None, Morris, or Caruso. Last spot. That's still going to be Caruso for me. Actually, on DraftKings, it's probably none, which I don't like, but that's none on both sites.
Yeah, I like none today. So, in the sense that just because I think he's played the minutes where he should be able to give you a potential breakout game.
Do you think all 3 stars will be in the optimal on DraftKings?
Oh, the way the pricing has worked out, that means if that happens, either the stars have gotten there so like just like the stars have been doing the damage on their own with no other like man, that's I want to say it doesn't happen the way the salary has panned out, but with Iguodala it can make that work. So, and it's tough. I don't for a lot. It's like I'm looking at a 50-50 split right now the way that has panned out. So that is a tough question for me to answer. But I will say, in a must-win situation, yes. If you're building one lineup, I think that's okay to do that.
Okay. I'm going to check and see how often it showed up in the sim earlier. 6. Count. I'm kind of curious myself. The answer is 26% of the time, all 3 were in the optimal lineup. Less than I would have expected.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, 1 in 4, pretty much. About.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
okay, so let's say that we know that my data is correct, and that 26% of the time it'll be 3. I think the prevailing number is 2. Like if I went back to check, it's probably like 70% of the time it's 2, just because it's so hard for it to be 1. Who's the guy? Who do you think is most likely to be left out? LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler, just because of his price going up, and he has the lowest ceiling, but that lowest ceiling was proven wrong in game 2. So I think you can make a clear argument after game 2 he has the highest ceiling. Because like if LeBron and Anthony Davis don't probably get the ceiling game on the same game unless there's overtime. So I think it's easier to say Butler's in there just because of him getting the ceiling more times than not. And after that, I thought about it, if that makes sense.
I hear you. 4 minutes to go. 383 likes. Guys, 17 more. Hit that thumbs up. We're killing it for you guys. Keep getting your questions in, and then go to No House Advantage and still get in that contest, because it's only 49% full. Overlay City at No House Advantage. Go there now. $1,500 up top. You don't have to worry about getting that chopped with like 67,000 other people. You'll probably win that outright.
Yeah, that's the perks of playing on a smaller site. The competition's usually a little softer in the sense you don't have to worry about. Usually smaller sites don't have 150 max options, and it's a lot easier to turn $5 into $100 more often than it is on the bigger sites like FanDuel and DraftKings, which is really important in terms of maintaining a bankroll and just
Absolutely.
being able to spike an upside on the other side. So it's important to take advantage of those promo codes, those site deals, and whatnot when they're kind of rare now. So take advantage of those, especially using our promo codes. That's how I maintained a bankroll for 3-4 years, and it's helped me have some success on other sites. So make sure to take advantage of the small sites.
All right, it's 8:58 p.m. Eastern time. We've got a minute and 30 seconds to go until lock. So I think that I can ask you this question now, and it won't give up your edge. I need you to pick which site you're going to win on tonight. Is that going to be FanDuel or DraftKings? And I want you to give me the main pieces of that lineup too. I want you to call your shot twice.
All my shots twice. Huh. So which site has the higher prize pool today? I think DraftKings has the higher prize pool. I'll be generous and I'll say I will go back to FanDuel, and I think we see, obviously, I think a core component of my piece, we see like the LeBron legacy game, Kobe, this is for you, winning a line and whatnot. So I think LeBron has to be involved. But I think we see a little veteran presence across the board, like with Rondo being part of it. And potentially, I like Rondo quite a bit. And then maybe a surprise outcome show from Caruso, and potentially the guy who was a story for game 1 for me, and Kendrick Nunn. So it's how I think some of it can pan out like that, but it's a shot in the dark with these showdown single game contests. More likely than not, you're going to die up top. So it's really hard to bank these solo. But if you have a game script narrative that's on your own island, I'm more than willing to say go for it. Just because you know the risk if that game script doesn't work out. So play within your means, know your risks, and it'll work out more times than not with these showdown and single game contests, because it's so easy to project games or like median outcomes over like 8-9 games where you can be accurate over a long period of time. But the one game, it's the range of outcomes are super variant when you're just zoomed in on one game. So
And that'll do it, everybody. We are locked for what could be the final time of the NBA season. I know I'm excited to go watch the game. It should be a good one. Brian, any final thoughts?
yeah, if this is it, I've had a pleasure being joining you for the NBA Finals and
Likewise.
playoffs as well. Please hit the like button on the way out. I wish everyone a healthy rest of the calendar year, and I hope we're back in 2021 talking NBA. With that being said, good luck from me, and catch you next time.
Later, guys. Good luck. Peace.